Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope all's well in your neck of the woods. Let's talk about the first, I suppose you should call it the first big fight of the year, which is between Jai Opetaia and David Nyika. And Nyika is a substitute, actually, for the IBF's mandatory contender, who was a guy by the name of Sin Cara. This guy was, I don't know whether he is German. He's based in Germany anyway. He was, like I say, he was the IBF's mandatory. Hussein Sin Cara, his name is. And as with the IBF, he was one of their, so shall we say, stranger mandatories. Someone who, despite having a 22-0 record, I mean, he's 39. Had he done anything to deserve a mandatory fight? Probably not. Then I suppose you could say the same about Nyika, David Nyika. But here's where things get more interesting. Whereas Sin Cara was, like I say, based in Germany, or he is German, Nyika is from New Zealand, and he's 10 years younger. He's 29. And he's also undefeated in 10. He's got 9 KOs. And because Opetaia is Australian, Nyika New Zealand, there's a bit of a rivalry between those two parts of the world. And you can't say they're evenly matched. I mean, Nyika is a rank underdog, but at the same time, like I say, he's 10 years younger than Sin Cara, same age actually as Opetaia, who's also 29. So it's more of an easy sell. And also in Opetaia's favour, the IBF have agreed to regard Nyika as a mandatory, because what happened with Sin Cara was that he was injured. He pulled out of the fight. I don't know what the situation is with him, whether he's going to be, after Nyika, whether he's going to get the next shot at the winner after Opetaia fights Nyika. Maybe Sin Cara will get the winner. I don't know. I don't know what the situation is there. But the IBF have said that David Nyika is Jai Opetaia's mandatory, okay, which is good because Opetaia can get that out of the way. This is his plan. Get Nyika out of the way and move on to unifications. Now, of course, Nyika is going to have something to say about that. His attitude's going to be, you're not getting me out of the way. I'm getting you out of the way. But he's got his work cut out. Nyika, only 10 fights, like I say, seems to hit quite hard at a certain level with 9 KOs. His last fight was in September against Tommy Karpensi, who has seen much, much better days, down at light heavyweight. Karpensi, decent contender once upon a time, but at 38 and with, that was his 9th KO defeat, his 9th defeat, and 6 of them have been by KO. He's way past his best. I mean, he retired after 4 rounds against Gilberto Ramirez when he fought him, and that was 5 years ago. So he's seen much better times. And that's really kind of the best opponent that Nyika has faced. He did beat Michael Seitz, who was 12-0. Over in Riyadh when he fought him. This was last year as well. This was in May time. Seitz was undefeated in 12, but again, totally untested. But Nyika stopped him in 4 rounds, which was decent enough. Beating an undefeated guy. But apart from that, we're talking journeyman, and we're talking a lot of people with losing records, and some of them haven't had many fights anyway. It's not like they're experienced journeymen where they can take your rounds. So this is really a huge ask for the New Zealander. Jai Opetaia, do I need to mention him? I mean, if you're a boxing fan and you know about Opetaia, 6'2" southpaw. Last fought Jack Massey, who's a very capable British fighter, probably European level, I'd say, who came in with 22 wins and 2 defeats, all one-way traffic. But this was back in October of last year. All one-way traffic for Opetaia. Stopped him in 6 rounds. Massey's corner threw in the towel. And Massey's a good fighter, but he was way out of his depth. Prior to that, Marius Brides, there was a rematch with him, which on the surface of it, for the first 8 rounds, Opetaia was having his own way. But Brides is a tough dude. He's a tough guy. He, of course, was the person that he was the fighter that Opetaia beat to win the title. he actually busted Opetaia's jaw in 2 places. And it doesn't seem to have bothered Opetaia at all, which I must admit surprises me, because I did wonder after that fight, will he ever be the same? I actually gave Jordan Thompson a chance of at least going the distance with Opetaia. Of course, that was because of Thompson's size. He's a huge cruiserweight, and the fact that Opetaia was inactive and coming off a double fracture to the jaw. I thought Thompson can make a splash here, win or lose. No, he got smashed up in just over 3 rounds. It was like 20 seconds into the 4th round, floored, beaten up. Ellis Zorro got done in a round. But Brides, in that rematch, so obviously in the first match, he gave Opetaia hell. In the rematch, which was over in Riyadh, even though he was losing widely for the first 8 rounds, he did come on strong. And he was clipping Opetaia and giving him plenty to think about. But he did lose a unanimous decision, rightly so. Opetaia won that fight. And then afterwards, Brides, who I think was 39 at the time, retired. He said, oh yeah, I'm done. But certainly he'll go down as, I think, Latvia's greatest fighter. Latvia, not exactly a hotbed historically or currently for boxing. It's only a very small nation, really nice nation. I like Latvia a lot. But Brides is from Riga, which is a lovely little city. If ever you get a chance to go there, go there. But he retired, having achieved a great deal, cruiserweight champ and all the rest of it. And Brides remains Opetaia's finest win, I think, because even though Opetaia can make a very strong case for being the best cruiserweight in the world, even though he has only held the IBF title, he was unfairly stripped of it, very unfairly, and then won the vacant belt back. So you could argue that he's a 2-time IBF champ. Nevertheless, the depth of, if you take out Brides, the depth of quality of opposition is perhaps lacking for Opetaia, and it is time for him to start fighting, for unifications, the other top guys. Gilberto Ramirez recently beat Chris Billam-Smith. That would be a fantastic matchup. If you want to talk about guts, I mean, Billam-Smith showed immense courage and fortitude in that fight to go the distance. Broke his hand, busted up in the face, everything, but carried on. Yeah. So he's, Ramirez is a threat to Opetaia, I would say. Opetaia was talked about moving up to heavyweight. I think he's too small for that at 29. Nah, I know other people have done it. Holyfield, obviously, and Usyk and David Haye to some extent. He won a belt at heavyweight, but nah, I think he's a bit small. But I could be wrong. I mean, been wrong before. But I think he's going to build his legacy in the cruiserweight division, Opetaia, and that means unifying the belts, becoming undisputed, then maybe moving up to heavyweight, maybe. But when you look at things, everything appears, at least on paper, to be weighted in Jai Opetaia's favour over David Nyika. However, Nyika can take solace from the fact that fights aren't fought on paper, they're fought in the ring. And he does have a bit of pop to his punches, and he is young and he is undefeated, and he's 6'6". He's an orthodox fighter. 6'6" is tall for a heavyweight. It's certainly tall for a cruiserweight. So he's a big guy. I haven't seen a great deal of him. I've seen the Kopenci fight, which I think is on YouTube, the Michael Saitz fight where he stopped him over in Riyadh, and that's it. But then if you look at his record, there isn't a great deal more to look at, to be honest with you. Can he take on Opetaia? Opetaia is a come-forward fighter, very threatening, everything about him is ominous. He moves forward quite quickly, very good footwork, holds his shape nicely, can jab well, but he likes to lead with the backhand as a southpaw. His knockout of Ellis Zorro was scary. So that came just out of the blue. It's like flicking a switch. He's got that speed of hand. Nyika, even though I haven't seen much of him, obviously a tall, rangy guy, goes looking for you. So I don't think Opetaia will have to go looking. I don't think Opetaia is going to have to use much forward motion, because I think they're probably going to meet in the middle. If I was Nyika's never been anywhere near 12 rounds before, by the way. I think the most he's been is is it 6 rounds? I think it was a 5-rounder in there early on in his career. So that's another thing. Can he do 12? We know Opetaia can because he's been 12 twice with Bridis. Yeah, that's another aspect. I think, to be honest, I think Nyika's best option is to have a shootout with Opetaia. And even then, I don't particularly fancy his chances. It looks like it's just way too soon for Nyika, whichever way you slice and dice it. And I fully expect Opetaia to chop down the 4 inches taller Nyika in about 6 rounds. About 6 rounds, 6, 7 rounds. I think Nyika will, early on, he'll show flashes of, maybe a little bit of power. Maybe he might even land a few punches. He might sting Opetaia, give him something to think about. But I don't see, there's no evidence that Opetaia's got a bad chin. I mean, if he has his jaw broken in 2 places, he doesn't go on the floor. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with his chin at all. So I expect Jai Opetaia to retain his IBF title against an intriguing late substitute. I think he'll probably win most of the rounds, if not all of them. But I do think gradually, by round four, he'll probably start to really get to Nyika, and I expect a stoppage for Jai Opetaia in about 6 rounds, mid rounds anyway. So that's my spiel. What do you think? Is anyone picking Nyika? And if so, why are you picking him? I want to hear why you're picking him, because that is intriguing. And yeah, please, thank you for your time. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. This is going to be a good one. And by the way, this is on the 8th of January, which is a Wednesday. All right, it's next Wednesday. All right, because of the time difference, it's in Australia. I don't know why it's on a Wednesday. I mean, it's strange because in Japan and in Australia and other territories in that part of the world, they do like to have midweek fights, which is fine, I've got no problem with that. It's on DAZN, I believe. So just bear in mind it's Wednesday. You won't have to wait till next Saturday or Sunday. So, and it will probably be on 11ish, 12ish, 11 in the morning, noon, UK time. But go and have a look. Let me know what you think. And like I say, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button if you like the video. And I'm looking forward to hearing your opinion on this upcoming fight. As always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and bye for now.